Yeah, Double Talk. It was kind of a weird week. A lot of things going on. So he's joining us on Wednesday here, and he's on his telephone. Darian, first off, I got to ask, when we were on a month or so ago and you talked about, I think it was back in your hometown, there's like an actual bookie still, like a guy that you can go and like place bets with. Would he have action? Like, is that guy still around? Would he have action on the Major League Baseball games then today?
Yeah, absolutely. Anything from baseball to hockey, basketball, you name it. European, the Euro League, basketball overseas, everything, man. You name it, he has it.
CFL?
Absolutely.
Oh, right.
Wow.
Oh, I get it. This might be a SportsCage documentary that we go. We film it and we go. Where would we have to go? What city would we have to go to?
Oh, man. Let's go somewhere down south where football is big. Honestly, there are a couple bars in my hometown and some places in Florida as well where they'll play CFL games if you request it. So
yes.
CFL is growing a lot, and it's been on U.S. television a lot the past couple years.
I just want to go and place a bet with a bookie like that. That's all. That's now on my bucket list. My wife's going to be like, "Oh, great, here we go again." We just crossed Tuscaloosa. Just crossed Tuscaloosa off the bucket list. Now we're adding going to a bookie, and I want to go and place a bet and then pretend like I don't have enough cash.
Oh no! Don't do that now.
Let's see what happens. Okay, Riders. You know what? And then a lot of people were talking. It wasn't the prettiest game. It wasn't a Picasso or anything like that, but who cares? Mm-hmm. At this point, end of the year, a team that's kind of had a little bit of a rough go, and now your second win in a row, Doubles. Like, what does it matter?
Yeah, it's not about how you win. It's about getting the W. That's the most important thing. And, there are plenty of bright spots in that game, plenty of good things that you can take away from it. I mean, the offense moved the ball. The defense played an exceptional game, making sure Masoli turned the ball over. So there's some bright spots there, and it doesn't matter how you get it done as long as you get it done and you get that W in the win column.
What were the bright spots for you, your eyeballs?
Well, first and foremost, the defense. I think the defense played exceptionally well. When you're dealing with a veteran quarterback like Masoli, who's been in these situations and in this type of environment, to force him to look uncomfortable. He made a ton of mistakes early. Coach Mace did a great job of mixing coverages with the blitz and backing off and knowing exactly what to do against him. So when you can have a veteran quarterback on his heels and not knowing what to expect, that's an amazing thing at this point in the season. And, even though the offense didn't score touchdowns, I think that whenever you move the ball and you can get the ball in scoring position and you put points on the board, that's a bright spot as well. So, I think they'll get back in the film room and correct some things offensively and figure out what they need to do to put the ball in the end zone. But, whenever you can move the ball and you're playing against pretty much a Eastern playoff team, so these games are all playoff-type environments against playoff potential opponents, whenever you can get the win, you'll take it.
Yeah, Darian, we've talked today a little bit about the offense struggling to find an identity and maybe the positives of that when you're trying to game plan against it. But for you, and I don't remember any year when you were here having that struggle, but what would you be doing in the locker room to kind of build that identity going into the playoffs here now that we're only 3 weeks out?
Well, I mean, the tough thing about it is whenever you have so many guys in and out of the lineup, it's hard to, build that type of identity you would like to. The injuries have just plagued this team since the beginning of the season, and it's hard to build that chemistry. Guys aren't playing together to form an identity. So the main thing is you're in a playoff spot right now. You have a chance for a home playoff game. These are pretty much the guys and the lineups that you're going to go into the postseason with. So you want to build as much as you can with the guys you have. It's tough, like I've been mentioning, weather and this part of the season where it's getting cold and it's going to be windy, and Trevor may not be able to go out and attempt, 35, 40 passes, and you need to get that run game going. So with Armstead being injured, we're going to see if we can establish the run and be able to carry that momentum going into the playoffs.
We talked about this earlier, and when Scott Schultz was on, and then DA and I talked about it, like even coaching at a youth level or coaching flag, or you can always key on the Randy Moss, take it away, and I think Schultz said they'd key on Joffrey Reynolds.
Yeah.
With Calgary. Like with this Rider team, part of it's because of injury, where it's like, okay, now who is Thomas the Train? Like and Frankie Hickson, all Ratkovich is in at one point, and then all the receivers, how they spread the ball around. This team would be somewhat hard to game plan against right now, Doubles.
For sure, and that's a bright spot of the offense if you want to label it that there's no one to key in on. But at the same time, you as a quarterback and as an offense, you want to have that guy or two that you can lean on in tight spots and tough situations who can make a big play for you or make a big run for you. So, it could go both ways. But definitely from a game planning standpoint, you can't really key on who's the guy or who's going to, be targeted in certain situations because they've spread the ball out so well, and running backs have been in and out of the lineup. You just don't know who to key in on.
Yeah, Doubles, and sort of we were talking about bright spots of the game. Like the last 2 weeks, I've been impressed with the O-line. And I think, by the time the fourth quarter rolled around against Ottawa, they were just grading that defensive line and pushing them back and really got the run game going there when they needed it. Do you see that coming, like with your eyes? Is that O-line looking like they're gelling? Obviously, again, ton of injuries this year, 3 Americans playing there, but is that obviously the importance of that running into the playoffs would be key?
For sure. I definitely love the way the offensive line has been holding up, especially with all the injuries. And you have to give the defense a lot of credit. Whenever the defense can force 2 and outs, can get the ball back, and the offense can run a ton of plays, the opposing defense is going to get tired. You're going to be able to wear them down and be able to run the ball at will. So you like what the defense is doing. If the defense can continue to get stops, can force turnovers, and allow the offense to just grind out games, then, when I've spoken on this before, when you can't just key in on him and the offense is balanced, that's when the offense is at its best. So the defense plays a major role in helping the offensive line and the offense not be so predictable, because when you get leads and you get 2 and outs, now you just can wear down the opposing defense, and that's what seems like this offensive line has been doing in the past couple of weeks.
Do you remember? Can you go back and remember a game where you were you're marching the ball and moving the ball and all that, and then it's like, oh, we got to settle for a field goal. Okay, we got to settle for a field goal. Because I was thinking, you know what though, but at least we're getting points, and at least we're settling for field goals. Yeah, we want the touchdowns there, but I said it earlier as well. Like, good teams will win those games when things don't go that way. Bad teams will find a way to lose a game like that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I can't really pinpoint a time where we settle for a lot of field goals, because I was blessed with guys like Corey Sheets and Wes Cates and running backs who could, just ground and pound and be able to finish when you get close or you need it. Whenever you can run the ball and it's 2nd and 3, you don't have to throw. You have a back that can fall forward for a couple yards or either put you in a 3rd and 1 situation. That's a weapon that you need offensively. So I can't really recall these situations, because I've always been surrounded by guys who, tend to fall forward a lot at the running back position and put you in those situations where you can score. So, but like I said, each year, each game, different things can happen, and I wouldn't be so worried about the field goals at this moment. I think all that matters is that you're moving the ball, you're getting in scoring range, and Lothar's making the kicks. That's all that matters right now. I wouldn't call it a problem as of yet, because you're winning. So we'll see how it goes, moving forward.
So, Doubles, as a leader in the locker room, when you get to this time of year, what were some of the techniques or things you used to kind of get the guys focused on, just like you said, all that really matters now is winning? We're not building for later. It's now. How do you get guys focused on that ultimate goal?
I think, first and foremost, we had a very veteran-led locker room for the most part. Guys who have been together for a long time, played together for years, And whenever you have that, that helps. But I think one of the main messages going forward needs to be job security. When you win, your chances of having the team together or keeping your job, it's a lot higher. And, whenever you lose and you have bad seasons and you don't make the playoffs, then there's so much change in the locker room. So I think, guys need to, just talk to each other and say, look, if we want to continue to gel together as a team, not just this year, but moving forward, we have to win, and we have to show this organization and the higher ups that we deserve a contract extension. We deserve to be here moving forward. So I think when you just let guys know that winning is the most important thing for your job security, for your family, for your livelihood, then guys have cut out a lot of the dumb penalties and things like that can get you beat.
You talked about it, I think, a couple of weeks, and then you talked about it again today, and how now in the CFL, right, the weather, you never know what you're going to get. Although it looks like it's going to be nice in Edmonton on Saturday, things could change, and then it starts to get colder and all that. When you were playing doubles, did you start doing anything differently as far as preparing? Maybe it's how you threw the ball like quicker or anything like that when you knew that the colder weather was coming?
Well, one thing we would do as a team is we would practice a little bit earlier. We would say, instead of going out at 11 when it gets a little warmer, let's maybe go out at 9, 10 o'clock early so we can, feel some of the chills that come with the wind and the weather changing. So that was one of our biggest things, that we need to get out here and practice in this weather and prepare for it, because, it's going to come, and when it changes fast. So I think it's hard to prepare mentally. You have to be in it. You have to experience it. You have to be out there and practicing. And, you can't go out to practice and wear 3, 4, 5 layers of clothing as well. You have to put on the same gear that you're going to play with in the game, and not try to, overcompensate for the weather, because in the game you can't have a big hoodie on, or you can't have on, sweatpants or whatever it is you may have on in practice. So you have to treat each practice like it's a game.
That's really, really interesting. Okay, I got to ask you some NFL stuff here. Down there, your brother had ties to the Dallas Cowboys. Maybe is there any chance Davante Adams ends up with those Cowboys just to totally make it a circus down there? Or where do you think Davante Adams is going to end up?
I don't know, man. I mean, I'm hearing that the Jets and Aaron Rodgers reunion may happen. You just never know. It depends on the GM and if he's going to do right by Davante Adams, or if he wants to send him to a dumpster fire somewhere. It just really depends, man. You never know in these situations. And hopefully he kept his nose clean. He didn't, burn his bridges there in Vegas. And, he has a GM that'll treat him right and put him in a good situation. But as far as Dallas, I'm not sure that receiver's the problem. I think that the run game is the problem in the defense. Bringing Zeke back was, it's kind of a questionable move. I know it's more of a sentimental thing for Jerry Jones to bring him back, but they need a young running back that can, provide that offense with a spark, because I feel like Dak is throwing the ball way too much.
Who in the NFL, when you're watching, and who in the NFL aren't we talking about that we could be talking about come like December, January? Do you feel?
Sam Darnold and the Minnesota Vikings. I think that, usually when you're a top 5 pick, you're going to go to a bad team, a team that has so many holes to fill. There's always coaching turnover. And I think that's what happened with Sam Darnold coming out. I thought he was one of the best quarterbacks to come out. But whenever you go to the Jets, back then especially, you're going to be in a bad situation. And I think for him to go to San Francisco and learn, and to go through what he went through in Carolina, he has the experience now. And, now he's with Justin Jefferson and Addison and Aaron Jones and just the weapons around him. And you put that with good coaching, so the Vikings are going to be a tough team to beat in that division. So I think that, they should be talked about more, and you're going to hear a lot from this team as the season progresses.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah, and interesting, Doubles, to see that in the NFL this year, the teams that have sort of made these massive contracts to quarterbacks seem to be struggling. And it's is that a factor of, like the players you just named that Minnesota has? How can you have all of those players and pay a quarterback like Dak $60 million? Like it's
impossible. You can't do it. And I think that I can't say that a guy shouldn't want to get paid, because every year when you see the TV deals and you see the money that these teams are making and that these owners are making, the guys are going to want to get paid too. But, you have to make sure that the team around you is good. And I learned that the hard way as I was leaving Saskatchewan, that sometimes it's not about the money, it's about the situation. And, when you're talking about these younger guys, you may not think that way. But, Minnesota's a perfect example of when you can pay, some of these key guys, especially, a receiver that's one of the best in the league, and you add these pieces around them and you're not paying a quarterback, top dollar, and you have a solid quarterback, you can build a good team, and I think you're seeing that.
Okay, I got to leave you on this, and I don't know if you ever played there, maybe, probably, but Saturday night I was fortunate enough to be at that Alabama-Georgia game, and I got to tell you, if you're a football fan out there and you want to go experience something, mind you, that's an all-time classic game. But Doubles, like TCU, I thought was pretty cool. I've been to Berkeley, pretty cool. There's just some other ones. That Tuscaloosa, I am glad I checked that off the bucket list. That's wild stuff down there, Doubles.
Man, I can only imagine. I've never been there personally, but I've been to Athens, and when I was being recruited by Georgia, and I'm sure that those atmospheres are very similar. But man, SEC football is just the atmospheres, and not just there, but LSU, South Carolina, Georgia, it's Florida. It's just so many huge stadiums with just rabid fans that just make these environments amazing. And then when you put two of these powerhouse teams, on the field, and you get a classic game like that, I can imagine just the ups and the downs and the excitement that was going through that stadium. So I know you had a blast, and I'm glad you got a chance to experience that SEC atmosphere, because it's amazing.
It's the buddy that I went with now. He goes, well, October 19th, Alabama's playing Tennessee. We should go.
I forgot about Tennessee. And Tennessee holds 110,000. So,
good old Rocky Top. Yeah, that's a bucket list.
Cool. Okay, let's see how the Riders, if they get it done in Edmonton, and then Doubles, we'll catch up on Monday.
Okay, sounds good, guys.
Thanks, Doubles.